Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max.
Welcome, everyone. We are the Geek Patrol, and our microphones don't have a stun setting. Today, we're joining you from the dumpster behind the Spirit Halloween shop. I mean, this is where the magic happens, right?
Well, I mean,
you never know.
Well, here's the thing.
Brandon's been camping out here.
Broken skeletons make great yard decorations.
Sure. I mean, this is where the creativity really comes into play, so...
I mean, I don't think skeletons come fully intact anyways or fully assembled. They're kind of scattered about, so it's more realistic.
This just goes to prove to you, Max, that you don't go into spirit nearly enough.
Okay. Anyway, welcome to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. We know Brandon lives there. I mean, this is his...
All right. I'm going to go ahead and admit to you, I'm a little deprived because they've only opened 2 of our local spirits so far, and the other 2 keep saying... They had said opening in August. Now they're saying opening in September, and I'm sitting there going, why aren't you open yet?
Okay.
I'm having issues, man.
Yeah, okay.
I'm jittery.
The hardware stores are picking up some slack,
Hey. Dude. There's a certain box store that is very high definition who has an amazingly posable skeleton and some great tombstones.
Okay.
They do.
I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead, the impassioned Brandon Olmstead, and our buddy Allan Gilbert over there, and our pal Max behind the glass. And wow, yeah, I forgot just how important this season is to you and Brandon. I mean, and we know the season, it's year round, but it really ramps up once it becomes official.
The truth is once you hit September 1st, you are officially in Halloween season, and it goes until November 2nd.
Sure. No, I think that's
because that's when you should throw your pumpkin away.
Yeah. Well, Brandon, I got a new one for you. We're trying something. We're trying something different over at Aspire.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You've heard about the jalapeno wine, right? We're gonna make a
pumpkin wine.
Yes.
Okay. Let's not turn this into a food dude show. Hey, guys, so later in the show, I don't know. I hope this will be thought-provoking. We sort of are going to discuss this under the umbrella. There's a lot of things happening that have been percolating really for the last, I'd say, decade, but they're really coming to a head now with the writer's strike, with the advancement in technology. We're going to just call this a media reset. And it may be good or it may be bad, but it's happening. We're in the middle of a historic, historic moment, and maybe we can speculate and just kind of share our thoughts. Also, Ahsoka Episode 3 came out, and I don't know how long we'll devote to that. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about it a little bit. Yeah. I mean, whatever. It's
but we do have to mention
it's there.
A couple of points.
Yeah. We've got to just mention really quick, too, that we're going to be at the Cooper Young Festival September 16th, and we hope everybody will drop by, and we'll be promoting many things there. And among them, Brandon, you've got a whole crew of cosplayers that are going to be promoting all over. Great photo ops.
I think it's awesome and everything, and I support it 100%, but I've got to give all the credit to our volunteer coordinator, Savannah Frizzell.
Yeah, she's rocking it.
She took the bull by the horns and ran him directly into a pink wall.
If you
want to know what that means, you got to come see us at Cooper Young.
Wow.
And now we almost have too many volunteers. When does that ever happen?
It's never happened.
It's okay. It's okay.
All right. Now, this is an abrupt page turner here. So now, speaking of the convention, we have got to mention something very sad, but we always try to more or less celebrate the person, when we lose them. And boy, did we were in for a shocker this week. We lost a good friend of ours, Mitch Foust, out of the blue. This one really stunned me. I mean, he's a staple at all the conventions in town, but he's been especially supportive of us and Mid-South Con and Shadow Con, and just a great fantasy artist. And Allan, I had no clue. This wasn't...
I've only known the guy since his T-shirt shop at the Mall of Memphis in the mid-'80s.
Yeah.
We've met.
Mitch designed our original logo. You've known the guy. Mitch is the one that introduced me to Mid-South Con. I never heard of Mid-South Con till I met Mitch, and he told me about it.
Yeah.
So he introduced me to fandom. Yeah. And you knew him back when he looked like one of the lead singers from Leonard Skinner or something. So, but yeah, apparently he was getting ready to go to Dragon Con. He's always a staple artist there at
I'm
Dragon
still
Con.
getting his ads for his new book coming up.
Yeah.
Right.
Which has just been astounding. I mean, the artistic loss alone is staggering.
Yeah.
His artwork is astounding. And I will actually tell you, he does the fantasy posters and that kind of stuff. But if you look beyond just the main character in the poster and actually look at the rest of his work, like every knot on the piece of Japanese armor is actually tied.
Absolutely,
not just a cute little, not a cute little pin thing where you kind of went, it looks sort of like a knot.
No,
when you look into his artwork, it is just staggering the amount of detail that he put into everything.
And the thing is, I didn't realize how much of an effect he had on people that I knew outside of the convention world. I went to Monday Night Raw this past week, and a friend of mine, who met us up there, he was like, "Hey, your wife said you were kind of sad about a couple of wrestlers who'd passed away," and we talked about Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt, and then I was like, Arlene Sorkin passed away. She was the original Harley Quinn.
Gotta mention.
And I go, and then my friend Mitch dies, and he goes, "Wait, Mitch Foust?" And I mean, it's like, that was the moment that like the ambiance dropped in the room. And I didn't even realize they knew who Mitch was. But I mean, his art has touched so many people outside of our realm, and it's a staggering loss that I still can't believe. It's gonna take me seeing where his booth would be and him not being there before it finally actually hits me. I think
I will freely tell you that is going to be a bad moment for me.
Well, we're gonna do a very
really gonna be a tough
tasteful
one.
and nice tribute to Mitch at the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention. We're already working on it. But what inspired me, Brandon, was all these Facebook posts from people that are like, Mitch was very supportive. Some of these artists that are maybe they were teenagers and they were thinking of giving it up or something, and Mitch encouraged them, and then they went on to really become great artists. And among them is our buddy John Martin. He evolved as an artist. I mean, we've watched his evolution, and he said a lot of it came from the support from Mitch and Dean and everybody. But that's cool. That's one of the things I loved about Mitch is building people up and always finding something good and supportive to encourage young artists, because we're big supporters of the arts. So it's going to be a big hole in the in the convention. I hate to say it, but we love you, Mitch. You are definitely going to be missed.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. Their Metachlorian count is off the charts. The Geek Patrol is back.
That's all well and good, but it's all how you use those metachlorians. And Brandon, I feel like we're underperforming. I'm sorry.
Wait, well, I love.
If I'm being honest,
I would love the idea of becoming a Jedi, but I think I would definitely use the Force for wrong things.
I'm reminded of this interesting video that I recently saw about what would happen if you're actually impaled by a lightsaber.
Okay. Boy, we're all over the map. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks,
let's not talk about that, because that just brings up all those people who were whining about Ahsoka.
Okay. And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Allan Gilbreth and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And boy, do we somehow, even our rejoiners and our coming back in from the show gets disjointed.
Well,
So,
you've got.
I try to stay focused and on task, but it never happens.
You've got a mercenary mindset. You've got a villainous mindset. You have a philosophical mindset with Max.
Yeah.
And you're looking for the dad joke.
I'm just yeah. Well, let's talk about it, Max. We had Ahsoka. We're up to episode 3, and it's one of these things where we've in the past I've heaped universal praise on Dave Filoni, which is probably never. You probably never should make heroes out of people, but I'm sorry. His work with Rebels and Clone Wars, I think it's outstanding. I think it's some of the best Star Wars out there. But now, is this his first live action effort where he's spearheading it? Because
I think
it's good. It's fine. It's fine. The word I would use is it's fine, but it is not. I mean, I got spoiled with Andor. I guess that's my problem.
Well, I think what you're seeing here, Joe, is that he's so worried about his babies, which are Ahsoka, Sabine, Hera, Ezra, all the folks that he created in Clone Wars and Rebels and all these things. These were his creations. So I think he's kind of handling them with kid gloves right now.
Yeah, I feel like he doesn't want to. It's safe. It is a safe. That's probably where the word. Because I'm still waiting for Rosario Dawson to change her facial expression.
She's not going to. Ahsoka has purged herself of all that emotional turmoil that caused her to walk away from the Jedi beforehand. So, I mean, it's going to take a while.
I feel like what's going on
here... She's not
here...
going to get happy. She's not going to get sad. She's just going to run programmed.
I feel like it's kind of like, Allan, I hate to throw a food reference at Allan because it can derail. Allan, I feel like you have got all the ingredients here to make something really, awesome. Ahsoka's a great character. Sabine, there's a lot of great characters. We're at an interesting point in Star Wars history. We got space whales. We have all the ingredients, and yet they're not using them to their potential, I would say.
Well, I think what they need is a little bit of lemon juice. That right there will get her facial expression to change, I guarantee.
Have you ever encountered this out? You got all the ingredients and you just make something mundane.
I've seen this many times. However, I'm going to look at Brandon for just seconds. I want to ask a question. All right. As I recall from all of the cartoons,
right,
as this character began, the annoying teenager, she was always the past reflective mirror of Anakin.
Right.
Anakin had now finally began to grow up, and he began suffering from Jedi curse.
Right.
And Jedi curse is when your master looks at you and goes, oh, you're going to have one just like you.
Oh, there you go, yeah.
Because, as I recall, she was always that 5 years mentally behind Anakin.
Yeah.
At least.
Always,
yeah.
But I'm going to say about 5 years.
But she had some of his traits which irritated him.
She starts off all super excited and everything. She's pod racer Anakin when we first meet her.
Right.
We see her become Attack of the Clones Anakin by the time that she gets expelled. But when we see her come back in Rebels and in the last season of Clone Wars, she is starting to take on a more stoic form because she's following in his footsteps. And she knows if the emotion takes her over, she could turn.
Yes.
Yeah. And she's already had that pivotal fight with him at the temple and all the other stuff.
All right. So that brings up my next question for Brandon.
Okay.
Did she just show... Now, see, I'm looking for depth here where there may not be any. But did she not just show off a Sith ability?
Which one?
Did she not just do the Jedi Force teleport thing? I've only seen Sith do the whole, I'm over here, now I'm over here. Well, we just had...
She kind of pulled that off during the training sequence.
Exactly.
And then again during the space battle.
Yeah.
Right, which means if I follow our dear F of all things Star Wars here, he has occasionally sandbagged a few episodes to pull out, a Mandalorian riding a giant carnivorous thing from the desert.
That's true.
He breaks canon.
I'm just saying, in the Star Wars that we have seen in series, there's always an episode or two that I think are sandbagging, and he's thrown in a little tiny hint like the Sith ability that he is now going to pay off, and I certainly hope there's a payoff because I think we sandbagged a little bit.
My thing, Brandon, is just
you're right.
I think there's just a lot of wasted time. There are so many elements and so many things you could work with here. Why are we spending 5 minutes with Sabine doing a training sequence that we already know?
Here's what I'm going to say on that. This is my theory here, and we saw it. We saw it in Obi-Wan. We saw it in Andor, and we saw it even worse in Loki season 1 and Secret Invasion. And that is where Disney wants a certain number of episodes, so they have to drag things out and give us these short episodes that nothing really happens in, and it doesn't progress the story that much. Literally, what they were doing in this episode could have been done in 15 minutes, and then you have another 45 minutes to do an amazing story with Bale and Skull tracking them on that planet.
Right. Mm-hmm. Now, you triggered me with your Andor. Andor, every episode, I thought was right on. But anyway,
if you go back,
it didn't waste it. I rewatched it recently.
If you go back, though, and you look at it critically and not as a fanboy, I'm sorry, I don't mean it like that. I watch it as a fanboy, too, because I love Andor. But when you watch it critically, there are definite sections in the middle episode of each of the various story arcs where it could have been faster.
They sandbagged it a little bit. Yeah.
Maybe it made up for it because they had such brilliant dialogue and character development.
Well, they're also characters you liked.
Yeah. All right. We're going to continue that. And then we're going to talk. So we're going to continue our discussion of Ahsoka and then talk about the media reset.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. One does not simply walk into Mordor unless they're with Allan Gilbreth. The Geek Patrol is back.
Oh, they'll pull up the tour bus for you, Allan, right? And I mean,
look, just because I got reserved parking, really?
Yeah. And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. Allan, travels in weird circles. We've said it before. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Allan Gilbreth and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And if you're just tuning in, we paid tribute to a friend of ours we had lost recently, and we will be making announcements about this in the days ahead. Our good buddy Mitch Foust. We're also talking about Ahsoka, and it takes an effort. I am not trying to sound like a hater, but Ahsoka is my favorite character in Star Wars. I think that's pretty fair.
Right.
Besides Palpatine, they're both great, but and I just feel like
I now
time is
understand
ticking
why
away.
you two click so well.
No, it's
your love of Palpatine is exactly why you and Allan Gilbreth can survive a 2-hour Tool Talk show every Saturday.
I just hate wasting time, and I feel like what's happening here is there are so many possibilities. You got 8 episodes. To me, 8 episodes is not much, and why are we dragging our feet with some of this stuff?
I want to focus back on Andor for a minute because I mentioned it earlier.
All right,
and it may have triggered you a little bit.
It did, because I thought there was no wasted time.
There's definitely wasted time in the middle chapter of each of the story arcs in Andor. The reason it doesn't feel like it's wasted time, though, is because we're still getting to know new characters.
The characters are developing, even if they're talking around a campfire.
They really aren't developing, Joe. They're a good chunk of these characters that we're falling in love with are flat templates. They don't have anything yet, but they're new. So we're more focused on what little they are giving us. We know Sabine. We know that she's a Mandalorian. We know she's got weapon skills. So watching her slowly, do lightsaber lunges is going to be boring to us.
Well, it's just there's nothing new about it.
Watching them retread, and I'm gonna go ahead and go here. This is where I talked about. I'm going to talk about lazy writing.
Yeah.
How many times are we going to have Sabine in the Luke role?
Right.
And Ahsoka as Obi-Wan, because
that's all it is.
We saw that with the blaster shield thing. We saw it later on when Sabine finally hit something with the gunner that's not calibrated for her, and she's like, "I got one." It's like, if there had been a Han Solo in that thing, somebody would yell, "Don't get cocky."
Yeah, I don't know. I'm really curious
there
about
was so much lazy in that episode.
I don't know. Whatever. I guess we'll follow it, but it's just we're in episode 3. My prediction is Thrawn is going to show up in episode 5. I don't know why I think that.
Episode 5
Thrawn is what everybody's waiting for,
right?
Yeah. And maybe I'm wrong, Brandon, but I have not heard of in the Star Wars universe traveling from one galaxy to another. That part I find interesting, that they're working on a what do they call it? I don't know.
Transgalactic warp drive.
Yeah, something like that. To go, that's cool. Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty long distance.
It sounds like the sort of project Thrawn would support, because he wasn't necessarily into the Death Star and everything. He said that he wanted to improve the Imperial fleet.
Yeah, and mobility and moving around. Yeah, if you have one of these transporter, you can be anywhere in the galaxy.
Well, I mean, if you're going to pluck him out of his exile, do you really want to pluck him out without a weapon or a toy that he can play with?
Yeah.
This transgalactic warp drive is exactly what he would want.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sorry, I keep thinking the intergalactic gargle blaster, which is an entirely different topic.
So here's my theory on it. All right, you see how big it is. Well, it's the exact same shape and design as the warp rings that the Jedi starfighters used in Attack of the Clones. He's going to put a Star Destroyer in it.
Well, that's what it looks like.
It's going to be beautiful.
It looks just like the thing Obi-Wan used. Yeah, exactly. So, but
it would be cool. Yeah.
But let's get to it. And then sometimes Dave Filoni's been known to do this.
We got to talk for 6 episodes first, Joe.
No, I mean,
Joe and exposition just do not get along.
I don't know.
I don't blame
Andor's a lot of exposition.
I don't blame him. When you have something that's been advertised as this action-packed Jedi quest,
Yeah.
You don't want a lot of sitting around twiddling your thumbs, learning the Force that we've
No,
seen.
you want to see man and cub. You want to see some ninjas falling out of trees.
This feels, and I'm going to say it, this feels like an origin story for characters we already know.
Hey, Brandon, this might, and then you just triggered Allan, but this might be a good transition observation. What I'm wondering is, okay, are there budgetary restraints on this? With all the things going on, did they say, well, you know what? We're not going to make this real well known, but this budget may not be as big as you need.
This
and that's
was finished filming and post production and everything before we ever started having all these contract issues.
Well, I'm watching scenes where Ahsoka is sitting in the cockpit of her starship, and it does not look the lighting to me looks like she's sitting in Starbucks or something. It does, and I'm like, how many? I don't know. I'm wondering if they saved a little money making this or something.
Well, they might have, but she hadn't got a cute little Grogu or something sitting there to attract your attention.
Okay, I don't know, but
because the lighting in the Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2 and 3 ain't that great either.
No, but you had Baby Yoda.
Right,
and that's the only thing you were looking at.
There was something new to distract you.
That was the ultimate little green sparkly.
It really was.
Unfortunately for Ahsoka,
Sabine,
if
Sabine's
they kill
cute,
Uncle Ben one more time, if this is an origin launch off, I'm just going to joke.
I don't know, but
I'm betting on episode 5.
I'm
going to agree
waiting
with
for that
Joe.
waiting for that Anakin flashback because it's coming.
Yeah, that's what we want. But okay, well, we'll see. But it's all taking place in the middle of a really pivotal time in history, which we're like, among other things, we're calling it a media reset because we got all these factors. We have AI. AI is a big factor. We have a writer's strike and a actor's strike at a time where, I don't know, Brandon, am I wrong? But the perception I'm gaining is a lot of people are like, we're doing okay without Hollywood. I don't know.
Well,
I mean,
okay.
Is the timing bad for them on this? I can live without Hollywood.
I'm not going to say it's that. I'm saying that people are so used to getting their giant tent poles and spectacles that when you give them something slow, they are unappreciative.
Well, what about Oppenheimer? I mean, Oppenheimer sort of rebuts that, right? It was one of the biggest movies ever.
Right.
Barbieheimer
I was going to say Oppenheimer did good. Oppenheimer didn't do that good.
Oh, it didn't?
No,
I haven't seen it yet either.
It was popular, and it made money.
Yeah.
But Barbie flew past it.
So Barbie's made way more than
It didn't catch up with Guardians of the Galaxy. Elemental, which was considered a bomb its first 3 weeks, is still in theaters and is slowly getting to the point. It just passed Cars for domestic box office.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. But there's a lot of factors that are stirring the pot, and we're going to discuss it when we come back here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. Alan Moore just egged my house. The Geek Patrol is back.
He wears his emotions on his sleeves.
No, he doesn't.
Like
he wears it in his beard.
Okay.
Hey, this
One
weekend,
little critique.
this weekend we did celebrate World Beard Day.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that's what it is. Maybe he wasn't nominated or something. I don't know. Whatever.
Or the emo living that thing escaped.
Get over it, Allan. And welcome back to
Which
Geek
Allan?
Tank Radio. Yeah, Mr. Moore. Welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Allan Gilbreth and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And really, this is sort of an ongoing theme. I don't even know if I titled it right, but we're in the middle of a discussion more or less called the media reset. Things I have to believe in 5 years are the way we consume media, the way we search for media, because that to me is a big thing. How media is made, who's getting paid, who's going broke. I don't know. It's all being shook up right now, and maybe at the end of the road it'll be a good thing. But regardless, Brandon, it's weird out there. I mean,
is it?
It is.
I haven't noticed anything different yet, other than there's a bunch of people on lines who need to be paid.
It's I don't know.
Well, let's just say I'm not investing in any movie theaters.
No, that's the other thing. The COVID, that's a factor. People went 2 or 3 years without movies and then realized, well, you know what, I can still watch movies at home, which I hate because I do like the communal experience of movies. But if I'm being honest, I don't go to nearly as much as I used to. Yeah. I still haven't seen Oppenheimer.
No, I mean, don't have any intention of seeing Oppenheimer in theaters because. Honestly, I don't want to be around people that long. It's 3 hours sitting in a place full of people.
And I've said this before, movies are not as special as they used to be because you can make one at home.
Yeah.
You can, so the experience of a movie, and there's so many, so that's a factor.
I mean, come on, Allan makes TV.
Yeah, I mean, they let him make movies. Yeah, so.
I do. Indeed.
All of these are a factor. I mean,
well, exactly. You're looking at the perfect tidal wave of technology has changed. 25 years ago, if you wanted to announce something, you took out an ad in the newspaper.
Right. Yeah, nobody does that
Anybody in
anymore.
here got a newspaper anymore?
Right.
Nope. Okay, so 20 years ago, you wanted to really make a big splash on something. You went and spent a whole lot of money, and you put an ad on a TV show.
Well, we know.
And you went to cable, who had, and we jumped from 5 whole stations to like 50.
And then 1,000.
Well, now today there are how many, Brandon?
Well,
let's see. There's VOD. There's cable.
Hold on.
There's streaming services. There's
if you count HD and regular channels, you have over 1,200 on cable. Then you have satellite, which kicks you up another 600. You've got your various streaming services, and each one of them has their own little tier for various things, and all of them have hundreds of options in them. And then there's still nothing to watch.
Right, and that's the thing. It's like I experienced this I only had cable TV for a very short period of my life, and I hated it. And the experience I have now is no different. It's like, I'm going to sit down for 30 minutes and watch something, and I spend an entire 30 minutes searching for what I want to watch, and I don't watch anything, and then I get frustrated and turn it off or something. Or if you're trying to pick a movie, good luck with that. So it's like work.
Yeah.
Danny Bruns told me that. She said, pick up a book and just I don't know. It's getting to the point where
you really threw a trigger.
It's like just
nobody has picked up a book in 10 years.
And that's why we're calling it a media reset. It's because people are going back to those things.
Right.
Right now bookstores are like surging for the first time in a decade.
Exactly.
Now that's good to know. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's
They're
weird.
not selling books. They're selling book-related products.
But you go and you buy your Kindle, and then you go to or you get your headset to do your Audible stuff. But books are actually selling for once again, like I said, in the past decade. And it's weird. I bought a book the other day. I bought Ahsoka, but it's still a book.
Well, we're sitting on a revival, I guess we would say an SCA-esque format right now. We're both a podcast and we're a live terrestrial radio.
It's weird.
I'm just pointing out that, we have listeners. Brandon, by the way, you have fans now in New Zealand.
That's because I'm the money.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
But, we're being listened to as we sit here right now. We're sitting in Memphis, Tennessee. We're on, the Cumulus Network.
Right.
We're in a lovely studio. We got a producer. We're all live here. That's kind of weird today, and the fact that all 4 of us are actually sitting in the same room.
Yeah, because even with terrestrial radio, people are all over the country for a local show that, none of them are living in.
So welcome to how weird the media has become, and the fact that, we have a website, we have Spotify, we have YouTube, we have, and there's a whole new a whole bunch of other new social platforms are all coming online as we speak. So welcome to, we don't know what's going to shake out in the next 3 years.
Well, and let's face it, we spend way too much time on our phones or watching. There's too much. I get back to nature. Read a go.
This
for a
I'm
walk
holding up a phone for nobody can see since this is radio, but I'm holding up a phone and I'm going to tell you right now, you can forget all other media. This is now media.
Well, it's true.
Well, I'm not watching Oppenheimer on it. I promised Christopher Nolan I wouldn't.
Okay. I don't know.
Well, next time you talk to Chris, tell him call me,
He's mad at you because your shows are more popular than he is.
Oh,
there's a great Star Trek Enterprise episode that makes me think of all this. And it was, who's the Dr. What is his name? Dr. I can't remember his name. Whatever. The
Neelix.
doctor. He said on their planet, they used to have a thing that was kind of like movies, and they sort of evolved past it because they just got bored with them. And I could imagine a future like that where maybe we just get past all this and it becomes more of a novelty and we're not so obsessed and we're not consuming so much of it. I don't think that would be a bad thing. I don't know, man.
No, when we get the
Go back to talking around
neurotransmitters-
fires and stuff.
Yeah. The first time I get a neurotransmitter implant where I can actually do a force grab of something, dude, it is so over.
Okay. Well, we're following.
You could just learn Accio.
Okay, we're following the developments, and we don't know where they're gonna lead, but we are, things are gonna look different here in about a few years. I have to believe so. Well, you guys, interesting show. Lots of I don't know what thought-provoking topics, but it's time to get out of here. The clock waits for no one. So until next week, we are the Geek Patrol, and I am Joe Thorderson.
I'm Allan Gilbreth.
I'm Maximilian.
And I'm Brandon Olmstead, reminding you to check out mine and Alan's new ham radio cooking show.